Hello YouTube, my name is Venator, and I hope you all are having a wonderful Friday. Today, I'm going to be taking you through my entire journey of how I went from this to this 13.5 ton killing machine. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the video. Spawning in swamps, first thing I did was link up with my battle buddy, Sniper Dude. And this was the first playthrough for both of us on the new update. And as always, we were playing on none other than the Petite Peds EU server. First thing we did was make our way from our spawn in the northeast swamp down to the center of swamps so we could hit the sanctuary. Hitting a sanctuary as a juvie is one of the key and easier requirements for achieving prime status. And because of this, at least in my opinion, this has made swamps the ideal spawn for starting out as a Dino. And as a Dino, you will not be able to see the sanctuary indicator though, so once you are far enough inside, the bees will attack you. That's when you know you got it and you can head back to the water. After hitting the sanctuary, our next priority was food, and our hunger was getting low and dropping quick. Lucky for us, an aloe decided to cross right where we were. And although we weren't big enough to grab him, in the latest update, they really buffed the bite force on baby dinos, so we knew we could get him down if he stayed in the water. So we stayed in pursuit because I knew he had to cross again. Just have to be careful going across these small spots of land. If he were to catch either of us on land, we were so small he could more than likely pin and kill one of us rather quick. But he just kept on going, and unbeknownst to him, the next section of water he had to cross was much bigger. So we were able to finish him off with bites, securing our first kill and our first meal, which was desperately needed. His buddy even showed up to come and try and help, but it was too late, and since we had this meal, we didn't stick around to fight, even though I thought about it for a split second, but better to take the food and run and live to fight another day. Continuing on our trek across swamps, we were heading south to a spot where I like to get the saltwater mutation at. And along the way, I found this chunky body drop. If you come across body drops like this, it's always best to grab it and take it with you until your hunger drops a bit more. That way, you can fill those diets up and grow even faster. Once we reached our destination, we dropped off our food, filled up our diets, and hit perfect diet by sharing the organs. This is one of the prime requirements. Then, it was time to head off to the ocean to drain our water. Traveling around the map is very important for getting prime, so the saltwater mutation is very helpful with this, but it's not mandatory to take. I will say though, I am much higher on the saltwater mutation now than I used to be, mainly because crossing areas by land has become much more dangerous with the addition of Rex and Aloe. Once you are at the ocean, you just have to drink your water all the way down and run back. They lowered the threshold in the latest update, so it only takes 1 or 2 trips now, depending on how low you get it on your first trip. And remember earlier when I said they buffed the baby dino bite force? Well, here's how I found out. We had this raptor jump in the water right in front of us, and we both went for a grab. And he only hit my tail. I couldn't believe how much damage that actually did. At the time, I had no idea about this change. But looking at the status screen, our bite force was almost at 80, while our weight, which is your health, was only around 150, so you can theoretically die in just 2 bites. With all the food we had, and now that I had to heal, we stayed in this area for as long as we could, and it worked out very well. Sniper was able to get this small Stego, which would allow us to gastro and eat, filling up our diets even more. This little area had become our feeding ground, putting every body here safe from any land carnivore that could be around, and at least safe enough that we would hear them if they got in the water. But not many things dared to even come out here. And I don't even know what happened to that Stego body, just decided to fly up in the air and eventually come down. After growing to almost half a ton, it was time to head out. We had eaten all of our food, and we needed to get on the move to get our patrol zones and migration zones. We made our way to the east side of swamps and headed north, hitting the patrol zones and scavenging for bodies along the way. For those who don't know, you have to hit 4 patrol zones and 2 migration zones to achieve Prime. But we like to hit more of them just to be safe, and they don't even have to be active. You can use Volnona to see all of the zones. This is what I'm showing you guys in the video and what I use myself for a map. We then exited Swamp, heading for Delta in the search for bigger food and knocking out more zones. Our first stop in Delta was here at the estuary. Now typically, if the server is very full, I won't stop here. This area is definitely a Dino hotspot. But by this time in our grow, the server pop had dropped enough where we decided to risk it, because this area is great for body drops and occasionally finding the odd elite fish or two. But it seemed like we weren't going to find anything, until Sniper saw a Dino drop right behind us as we were about to leave. And it was a very good drop to say the least. The difficult part of growing with a partner is always food, especially here, because I took the slower hunger drain mutation and Sniper did not. So whatever you see my hunger at, just imagine that Sniper's is about a quarter or more below mine. And if you get a drop around here, be sure you take it away from this area. Being a high traffic area, we went a bit north. That way, we have a chance of seeing another Dino coming our way. Growing a Dino is all about small victories like this. Finding a meal that can hold you over for 30 minutes to an hour is huge. After filling up, we moved away from the body and found a spot tucked away out of the line of sight from where the body was, so we could take turns going AFK to hit the bathroom and grab food or a drink. It really helps break up the grind if you are able to step away for a few minutes, knowing you have food to fill up on when you come back. Once we returned and filled back up, we had just hit 1 ton. This is where your growth will really start to pick up and you'll put on more weight quickly. Now we've come to the most dangerous part of our grow, going up and back down the river delta. Traversing delta as a Dino is very dangerous because all it takes is one hungry Dino and you are dead. With the new update, not only are bigger Dinos faster than you, now they also see better than you too. So be sure you hug the bottom using the grass and rocks and logs as cover. I only surface if there is a short line of sight in front of me. Don't surface in the long stretches of river or you'll be spotted from a long ways off. Lucky for us, we didn't come across any other Dinos as we came through Delta. And just after passing the bridge, we found a Maya corpse that we were able to eat and gastro off of until we finished it. Again, finding drops like this makes growing a Dino much easier. Just be careful hanging around Delta for too long at this size. You are the perfect snack for a bigger Dino. Once we finished the Maya, it was time to head up to water access to see if we could find any Dino body drops or smaller Dinos to cannibalize, because we were in desperate need for some bee diet. Bee diet is, in my opinion, the most important to keep full, because the higher you have it, the better your health regeneration is, and there's nothing more annoying than having to sit in a bush and heal for a long time, especially if you get low on food. And once we got up here, we did find a Dino drop, but sadly not a big one, and to make matters even worse, this was all we found. In the past, water access has always been a go-to of mine for finding food. But sadly, in this run, it was the exact opposite. So we headed back down to Delta, and on the way, I found a nice little drop, just a short walk up into the jungle. Scavenging is a Dino's bread and butter during a grow, and since Sniper didn't take the hunger mutation, we were almost always on the search for food. And since I did have the hunger mutation, most of the time, we could just split the body. Depending on his hunger, I would either take the organs or just the bones. And as we made our way back down Delta, we got pretty lucky and found a Dino body drop. It's not often that I find drops like these in the middle of Delta, so we were very grateful. While my hunger was not too terrible, Sniper's was getting low again, and as we were making our way back down, he came heads up with our first encounter with another Dino. And unfortunately for this guy, I was bigger, and I didn't waste any time grabbing him. I simply couldn't pass up a free meal. This guy swam right up to us and was trying to be friendly. Most of the time, that's okay, and I understand why people do it, but at the end of the day, Dino life is a cannibal life, and we had a long journey ahead of us to get all the way over around the map to Mudflats. So if you're out there, Troy, I'm sorry, but your body carried us on and allowed us to get Prime. And without that big body, we might not have made it. By the time we got back to the estuary, my food was down to about 3/4 and Sniper's was about half. Lucky for us, we came across another body drop, this time a full Carno drop. This would be perfect for us, since we had to get all the way around Swamp and over to Mudflats. After finishing the body, it was off into the ocean. It's a pretty long journey around swamps, and sometimes you'll get lucky and find body drops on the way, but we didn't find a single thing. Having made it all the way around swamps, it was time to walk over to the lagoon, just south of South Plains River. And we chose not to stop at the middle pond in between. I wanted to see if we could make the entire trek on one thing of water. And turns out we can, but I didn't expect running into trouble. If you didn't see him, there's a Stego off in the distance, right where we needed to enter. But after some time waiting behind the bush, he kind of moved off and I had no choice but to continue on into the water. Lucky for me, he was far enough away where even if he could have sprinted the entire way, he wasn't going to get to me in time. And this is where saltwater is definitely very useful. Being able to be safe in lagoon is a huge advantage. Had I had to walk all the way up to South Plains River, I very well could have been killed, either from the dehydration or if the Stego would have seen us. And after healing back up and exploring the river up top, to no avail, we decided it was time to head over to Mudflats, so we exited the lagoon and made the walk over. And with our hunger getting really low, we were in desperate need of some body drops. Normally, Mudflats has a fair amount of drops, but it was a bad sign when we couldn't smell anything. And if my hunger was low, you guys know Sniper was getting really low over there. He definitely regretted not taking the hunger mutation at the start. And after making our entire way through Mudflats, we didn't find a single thing. So we had no other choice than to make the walk over to my favorite hunting spot on this side of the map, the pond in West Rail. Lucky for us, as we approached the pond, we could smell some corpses around the area, so we knew we at least had a few bites of food to hold us over until we were able to find something or catch something bigger. But this is where we called it for our first session. We had nearly reached full adult, almost 8 tons, and since the population was so low, we decided to log and get back at it the next day. And it sure didn't take long. Once we were back in, the things just started to flow. West Rail Pond did not disappoint. Here, we had this big aloe come over to take a drink. And regardless if he's prime or not, it's an easy grab right behind that log, just like normal. And with that grab, our food would be set, because once you hit prime, your growth rate drops to 0%, so your hunger doesn't drop nearly as fast, because you grow extremely slow. And when I say slow, I mean very slow. It takes about 12 hours from the time you hit full adult to reach full prime. West Rail is the perfect spot to do that, as long as there's no other full prime dinos occupying the pond that just grabbed you as soon as you walked in. And with all the action going on, we didn't have to worry about going hungry anymore. And it would have been nice if I hit that double grab, but sadly, I missed and just hit this little one. Oh well, there will be plenty of kills to come, I can assure you of that. And having just gotten past 11 tons, there was no stop to the action. And it didn't matter how big or how small something was. We were killing anything that dared drink from our pond. Nothing was going to be safe, especially as we got bigger and bigger. And probably my favorite thing about the new update is that the Stego's damage on its power swing and tail strikes in general was significantly reduced. Now their bleed damage was increased, but Dino has great bleed resistance, so you're able to go up and fight lone Stegos, especially if you have a Dino partner like I do here. And sometimes you have to act like you're going back to the water. This guy thought we had given up, so he thought he'd be clever and come get in a cheeky power swing, but he didn't realize that that's what we were waiting for. I was able to get a headshot and several good follow-up body shots, so he was definitely getting hurt. And when you're in the 11 to 12 ton range, I can't remember exact weight once your bite force starts to drop, but at this point, our bite force was still really good. Around the 600 range if I remember correctly, so we weren't giving up on this Stego. We were trying to get as many hits in as we could. Here, I thought the Stego had given up, so I was going back into the water to just lounge around and relax. Sniper though, he was chasing the guy all the way up, and I gotta admit, I did not think that the Stego was actually that low. But as soon as Sniper got tired of being on land, he decided to come back down to the water, see if the Stego would fall for the same trick twice. And sure enough, he did. The Stego came for a power swing, and Sniper was able to land a perfect alt bite on his head, which put the Stego down, securing our food for the next hour or so. This was probably one of the best kills, and honestly first kills on a Stego that we've had on land in the new update. And to make matters even better, this Dibble, a chunky fella, looks like he was almost full prime, thought he could drink right next to me, underestimating how fast I could sprint down to the water, swim over, and grab it. I'm not sure what this guy was thinking. I mean, he could clearly see us, but hey, I'll take free food any day of the week. And even though I was full on food, this Dibble thought that it'd be a good idea to drink beside this log. There's really not a safe spot to drink at this pond, and even though I didn't need it, this guy's body would be perfect bait. With the new lunge, you can set stuff a little further away from the shore and people will think that it's safe to come up and eat, which it's not. This Dilo probably smelled the bait that we had sitting around the pond, and unfortunately for him, he sat still for just a second too long. I was able to dash up and snag him right at the end of my dash. And here, we had two Stegos come up. They thought they were for sure not grabbable, but I don't think they expected two big Prime Dinos in here. The one was blocking his friend, well, and he was grabbable. And instead of running, his friend sat there and got grabbed as well. This is the first double Stego grab that we have ever gotten, and I have to say, it was a lot of fun. Getting these cocky Stegos in the new update has been the best time I've had in the Isle in a long time. I mean, just the fact that he went parallel to the water and was trying to body block and was so confident that he couldn't be grabbed, well, that was just icing on the cake. And now we had a ton of food and would be set to continue growing. And this little Sarah came up. He thought about it for just a split second too long. Had he even just decided to be a split second quicker, well, he might have gotten away, but with the new dash, probably unlikely. And I need to correct myself. It's actually not a new dash. I like to call it the new torpedo lunge, or the super lunge. Like you just saw, you can cover an obscene amount of distance and kill anything within probably like a 30-meter radius of water. And these Patchies, well, they were upset that I did that to their friend, so they came in and tried to do a little bit of bone breaking, which resulted in another dead Patchie. I think the third one got the hint, and he buggered off into the distance. Here, I had a Tenno in my sights. He was fighting a Carno, completely unaware of the danger lurking right underneath the water. He was trying to use this tree's cover, but he just made the fatal mistake of being around the water. And as you can see, the super lunge in action, it is just nasty. And I know it's probably not an intended feature and a bug, but hey, I'm going to take advantage of whatever I can. And hey, turnabout seems fair play. A lot of people have been complaining about this new lunge, and I understand, it could be very frustrating to get killed by. But do all of you remember the water drinking bug that was in the game for like an entire year? Well, as a Dino main, I sure do, and that thing drove me crazy. So, you know what? It is what it is. Until Dondi removes it, I'm gonna take advantage of it. And here, I didn't even need it. These 3 aloes thought they were safe. Well, they were wrong. And at West Rail, you can put things under these logs, and that allows you to get a second one. My stamina was so high, they had no idea that I would come up and get another aloe. So, he was going down to join his friend in the icebox. I'd probably save this guy later, seeing that I didn't really even need the food. And after that nice double kill, we hit our 13.5 tons, a fully grown Prime Deinosuchus. And on my first attempt, no less. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please consider dropping a like or comment below. And if you don't want to miss out on a video, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Thank you guys. We'll see you all next time, and happy hunting.